following movie is rated R.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mutant Year Zero. Thank you for joining us again as we try to survive the wasteland. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, be sure to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment so we know how we're doing. Thank you, and welcome to Mutant Year Zero.
We left off with you basically capturing one of the pirates and a radio. And you're at Evelyn's cabin there, or compound is a better word. They were using it for basically a base of operations to some extent. You've got a couple of the hell drivers with you. Couple being 3. What do you guys want to do at this point from this base of operations here with your captured, your prisoner of war?
Give us the codes.
The codes. You're asking this of the pirate?
Pretty much.
Because what codes are you talking about?
You're going to teach us your protocols
What protocols are you talking about?
for the radio.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Perky just kind of looks around the room. Like, you serious? Look at this guy.
Yeah, he's stiff-arming you for sure.
Is everyone else here right now?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm here.
Everybody's quiet today. Must have had a long week.
Long day.
I'm gonna be honest, I have been having a long week.
He looks at you guys kind of all around and says, "Look, man, look, I think this is just a big misunderstanding. We are just out trying to find food and water. You know how it is. So it's a rough thing to do. Not sure what we did to upset you folks here. But I would just be real happy if you'd just let me go. I'd appreciate it. I mean, I promise I won't cross your path anymore."
I'd appreciate it if you quit. I'd appreciate if you'd stop lying to us. That'd be nice. You actually stand a much better chance of getting out of here alive if you stop lying. So, we're going to ask again nicely one more time, and then we'll start asking not so nicely. We want radio protocols. You're going to give them to us. That thing.
Radio protocols for what? I mean, who do you think I'm talking to?
What's the just above game? What's the name for the main base that they have here? That they radio back to, that all the traffic comes out of?
Oh, that was. Go back. They were talking about Thunder 1, Little Boy. Were some of the code names that they were using. Yeah. Don't know that they actually gave the name of the forward operating base that they've got up the river. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know that you've heard an actual name for that, but you know that they are pirates.
Well, the protocol name for the forward operating base you guys have up the river, for starters, would be a nice. That'd be a good place to start.
Okay. Let's see here. Make a sense emotion roll. So he plays it off pretty good, but when you say you mentioned the base up the river there, you can see it shocks him a little bit that you're aware of that. He didn't think you knew about that, but he plays it off pretty good. I don't. What base are you talking about?
Do we actually know? Do we actually know the position of that, like the exact position?
Well, you did reconnoiter that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perkin just sighs and then pulls out a map and then points to the spot on the map. The one right here.
He looks at you and says, "Look, I don't want any trouble. Um, I, it's obvious you folks are, you know, this is your area. I'm sorry I came up into your area. I'll be happy to just move on down the river, okay?
How is he tied up exactly?
I figured you tied him up behind his arms behind his back, probably. Maybe even hog tied him. I don't know. If you let Velvet do it, she tied him up where if he moves, he strangles himself, probably.
Well, speaking of that, I'm trying to check the ruling on this because I know there's a specific bit of text that trying to use, was it dominate? On someone who is not an animal works a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't have it under the dominate, does it?
No, it doesn't. Maybe it's underneath the conflict. Animal mutants can dominate humans and human mutants. However, the strange rose apes lack rank in the eyes of the animals, and thus rank gives no modification. Because of different ways of communication, animal always gets a -1 to dominate rolls against a human, and a human always gets a -1 to manipulate rolls against animals. Alright, so it's just at a
Just
-1.
-1. That's not terrible.
No, it's not. Especially since, yeah, Tail's going to help out a lot with that, because we're blowing
Nice.
4 points on it.
Ugh. Okay.
After he says that, she kind of gets in relatively close, pulls out her claws, and presses it against the little forward. I think that middle part's the esophagus.
Oh.
She leans it up against that to the point where it's pricking skin. I do not have time for this. I have no calls about murdering you right here and now. Tell them what they want, or your last moments will be struggling painfully. So we're going to do dominate. Oh wait, first I need to roll the point usage, don't I?
Yep. That's the sucky part.
6. I got a 1. What is 3?
3. That's a lot of. I don't know that I've ever seen you spend that many points.
She loses the ability to use comprehend and really use events, but she doesn't run off somewhere, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
This is probably the only thing I'm going to be able to contribute to this, so this is actually fine. So that's 4 extra points. 3, so that's 7 minus 1 is 6. And rolling. 2 successes.
Okay. Given my current state, that breaks me. He wets himself, and says, "Look, I'm sorry. What do you want to know? Just please don't kill me."
Gestures towards the rodent.
You were saying something about the radio codes. He says, what do you want to know about the codes?
I want everything you got, everything you know, every passcode, every name for a base, every name for a unit. Give me everything, as well as different procedures and what they entail. Basically, I am looking for a just a
Mm-hmm.
way to
Mm-hmm.
see what's being said when the radio is being used.
Okay. So he says we don't really have a standard set of codes. Uh, we basically establish them at the time of whatever we're doing. And they're pretty simple. We have code names for our groups that go out, and that's it. We don't really have code words for bases or anything like that. It's just we have code names for the groups that are out to try to confuse people of how many groups we've got out. And if we need certain things, if we need a request for some kind of equipment, we do have a few code words for that. He says, "I'm happy to give them to you. Just please don't kill me."
Well, then start giving. Let's go. Chop chop.
So he gives you
Perkin will pull out notepad, start writing things down.
gives you the current codes that they're operating under here for his team, and he says I only know my team's codes. So he says, this is the code we use when we've arrived at a location, and I identify myself. This is our team code, and he gives you whatever that code name may be. And then he says, if we call the base, this is the code for that. And he says, if we need a drone, we call it this. And if we need backup, we say this. If we spot something that needs to be investigated by a larger group, we use this. And he says, so he gives you basically the codes where you're going to be able to decipher the chatter, because beyond that they use basically pretty much plain English. And he does say, I am from the base up the river.
Tell me about your drones. What can they do?
Well, we have some smaller ones that basically for us to be able to recon an area or go take a look at something that we don't want to send people to. They're just small. They don't have a very long range. Our main base does have some of the larger drones that used to fly. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're kind of a sphere shaped. We've got a few of those that we do fly, but those are for special circumstances. We don't. I haven't even seen one fly.
Tell me about any other assets that you guys can call in for. How long does it usually take how long it usually takes for them to get to wherever they're going?
Well, I would only be able to call in what we've brought with us to our base, our operating base. And that right here is we've got basically some heavy machine guns on the boats, and then we've got a few of our guys are armed with assault rifles. Really, we're not overly heavily armed.
How many machine guns?
There's 2 per boat.
What all are you guys out here looking for?
Well, we're looking for some mutants that took out a group of our people. Yeah, you actually kind of meet the description of what we got.
Well, if a couple machine guns is really not heavily armed for you guys, I don't know who's going to be able to take on your heavy emplacements.
Okay, what are you trying to manipulate there?
I'm just trying to be like, oh, I don't know who that who that could possibly be.
Oh, that it's not what he's thinking that it isn't actually you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm gonna roll against that one. Opposed.
Can he use a skill while he's broken?
Ooh, no, you're right. I don't think you can. Is that right, Velvet? I don't.
He was broken due to wits. Usually you can't do a whole lot of anything while you're broken.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's you broke me on my wits. So yeah, he believes you. He says, "Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you just sort of look like uh, some of the ones that the the and he kind of shuts up there. Well, the ones that they saw you, maybe.
When broken, you cannot use any skills, perform actions, or activate animal powers, not even reactive ones.
Gotcha.
However, you can use a maneuver per turn. So if he could move, but that's it.
Now tell me about these dogs you got.
The dogs are they're special in that they can smell really well.
Yeah, but like, how'd you get them? They're not real dogs.
Ugh. I can't do anything to fight back on this. There's no
you
way
can
to.
perform a maneuver. That's it. While broken.
No, they're. Now, what was the? I'm sorry. What was the question? They're not real. You said.
Where are you guys getting them?
I have not seen the place, but from what I understand, there's a place that's west of here. I think that they found these artificial dogs, or figured out how to make them there or something. They don't really tell me much, but I just hear little bits and pieces. But it's supposedly a facility where they found them.
Tell me more about them. What their advantages and disadvantages are.
There's not
That
really
kind of
any
stuff.
disadvantages. They're fast. They can track like no other.
Has anyone ever been able to evade their tracking before?
Not that I know of, but I mean, I I haven't been able to be around them very often. It's not something that I'm usually around. Though there have been more of them lately.
Tell me about your synthetic people that you guys have.
He really looks shocked at this point. He's like, you can tell he's like, crap, they know about that too. Yeah, we've got some synthetic people.
Advantages, disadvantages. They're coming from the same facility, I presume.
And he's like, how do you know that?
You're going to answer my questions now, sir. Now's not the time for asking questions. Now's the time for answering them.
Well, yeah,
you do want to live, right?
Yeah, they've been coming from the same facility. We've had the artificial people for a while. We've come across a couple of different facilities that we think it was some sort of recreational thing, and we've had some of them for a while now. But there's new ones that are. Somebody said something about they were being custom made for us.
There's not a hard and fast on that. That's just rumor.
Yeah, I mean I know that the synthetic people, they're fast and they're accurate and they're tough, and there's more of them than we used to have. There's a lot more than what we used to have.
Advantages, disadvantages,
They're fast and tough.
obviously.
I look.
They don't always work properly.
I haven't seen one malfunction.
I don't know that I'd call it a malfunction so much as just like someone stopped giving them commands and they just sit there.
He says, "Have you?" And then he's like, "Have you?" And then he kind of shuts up and kind of pouts and says, "I."
Tell me about why that is and what it takes to reintegrate them after that happens. Is that literally just as simple as someone coming by and picking them up?
If
Or
they
is it
if
more
there's
involved?
if there's a malfunction, you mean?
Not a malfunction, just to stop giving orders, I guess.
If one stops doing what it's supposed to, they usually just terminate it.
Anyone else have any other questions?
Velvet can't talk right now.
That's unfortunate.
Just for a minute.
Does it
You'd
only
be-
last for a minute? I thought it only lasts for an hour.
Oh, is it an hour?
We'll double check. That was an hour.
Oh, it's hours instead of days, isn't it?
Well, each one of them's a little bit different. I wrote a 3, hours. So for
Okay.
1 hour, she cannot talk. However, if you will decide to tell her something and she can at least understand to do a thing, she will do thing. Including tearing this guy's throat out, which he kind of wants to do already.
I'd ask him what his role is.
I'm mainly in scouting parties. And then I assess what we find and send the information back. And then they send in teams if they like what I've told them. AKA scout.
All right. Now's a really important time to answer my question truthfully. I want to know a little bit about your current leadership. If you go back to them and tell them about your meeting here with us, what do you think their reaction is going to be? Is it going to be something? Are they more like arrogant, like huh, whatever, no one out in the zone can do that, or is it going to be more taking notice? Basically, is your current leadership semi or totally incompetent?
Well, Captain Malgo is always looking for people to help find things, make him stronger, and he doesn't take to competition kindly.
So that's who you report to, Captain Malgo?
Well, I don't report to him, but that's I mean, you asked about leadership. That's basic. He is the leader. I mean, then you've got people that are sort of in charge, but everybody answers to Captain Malgo. I promise I won't say anything. If you just let me go, I won't say I
From
found
what I've
anything
heard
here.
from what I've heard about your leadership, I'm not even sure that you returning back home would even be a good idea. That is also going to be a manipulate, which I don't. He can't fight against it, so I don't know what you want me to do.
Don't worry about it.
Have one success,
Basically, you can see him kind of mulling that over. How does he explain that he lost two of the synth dogs and his partner is gone also?
Not only that, but got captured by a group of people, lie about not being captured by a group of people, and then that he revealed no information.
I think I can make him believe that I didn't come across anything, and I'll come up with a story I mean, there's all sorts of dangerous stuff out in the zone. If you've spent any time out here, you know.
This is where I'd really want to be able to talk to Velvet right now. 'Cause
Velvet.
I want to let him go. I really do. But that's not necessarily something that I don't want to just be like, shut up, Velvet, just deal with it.
I think you probably know what Velvet's answer is on that.
Yeah, I do. But the thing is, we've let people go before, and Velvet was. I don't know that Velvet was okay with it, but she didn't go out and hunt them down and kill them herself, as far as I'm aware. If that makes sense.
The side game that you were unaware of.
That would honestly have been kind of cool if it had happened. Where it's like Velvet's just like, let him believe he's doing good. Now we go kill them.
Going hunting for rabbits.
Well, she tracked one down. And probably got shot at for it, but she did do it. Well, Chev has any other questions?
No, not from what he's already spilled.
Well, as much as I would really like to say something, the only option we have is to wait an hour.
Right.
Which game time. That we can just say that.
Yeah, we can say we leave him here for a little bit while we go and talk.
Yeah, you just have him tied up and you guys go in the house.
Suppose this interaction will also have to be approved by the Hell Drivers, kind of. I think they're pretty much willing to let us do our thing, but at the same time,
they don't seem to be too particularly interested in the art of interrogation. They prefer just to beat face in like
True.
a pinata and be about their business.
We have a great opportunity here to provide some false information too.
And you are probably out of radio range from the Ark at this point, where you're at. But you're not really, in the scheme of things, you're not too far off if you wanted to drag him back there. No other questions you think you can think of that you want to ask him?
Well,
for sake of things, I think it's probably already been 20 minutes of talking to him anyway. So, if you want to just basically everybody kind of waits for you to regain your ability to speak. They know what happened. You strained yourself, and they just kind of hang in there until you're good to go.
When it finally falls off, she'll kind of stop arching her back like she's getting ready to pounce this dude directly in the face. Tail smooths down. Okay. So what were you doing out here again?
We're scouting for whoever took out we had a forward operating team that was basically doing some scrounging, looking for equipment, scrap, whatever they could find. People, it's a conscript, and they were taken out.
You mean steal? You wanted to kidnap people.
It's not my decision, but yeah,
you're still doing it.
They do take people. I just scout. I don't take anybody.
Yeah, sure you don't. So you send all these people out here to look for other people who fought you? Like, I know what you guys do. Other people fight you. What makes this so different?
Well, we recently had a run-in with some mutants that it took a pretty bad toll on us.
Really?
So now they're kind of sensitive about any mutants that attack us.
So what would you do if you found them?
Well, I'd say they'd attack them.
How are things at home right now?
He gets a little squirmy.
Tense? Things getting a little worse?
When we took on this group of mutants, it took a serious toll on us. It's kind of why we have to have so many synthetics right now.
I remember my friend asked you about this place where you got your weird robot dogs and now robot people. Do you know where this place is?
If I could get a compass, I could probably tell you roughly the bearing it's on, and if you happen to have any maps, or if you'd let me get a map, or would bring me the map out of the cabin there, I could show you probably right about where it's at.
So there's a map in the cabin here?
Yeah, we've got a map. He goes, actually, that probably wouldn't help me that much. If you would, can I just borrow a compass, and I could probably give you a bearing to it?
You can look at one.
Huh?
I don't know who has the compass now. Probably the stalker we have with us.
Yeah, the stalker is going to have the compass. Should be binoculars, a compass, and
So
map.
he kind of gives you a bearing, and if you look at your maps, it puts it probably about where you found that amusement park deal at. Yeah. The quote unquote Westworld. Please, YouTube, don't get me for copyright.
You didn't curse in the first minute of the video, you're good. So are you only using these robots, stuff like this, or are you using it around your home?
We've got all sorts of synthetics that we're using. Some of them are set up to do things back at the main base. Some are for this kind of thing where they support our groups as we scrounge and look for supplies, and then they have some that are set up for combat.
So what about the people you already captured? Were they not enough for you? Excuse me.
Who do you mean?
You know, people who look like me.
Well,
The
and he,
kind you string up alongside boats.
you can tell he's very, very uncomfortable. Well,
The kind you casually capture and force children to do your bidding. You know, those people. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
well, we have a few that are still working, but most have died. Had a couple even escape.
I growled at him a little bit. Good to know. Are there any other groups of you besides the one at your little island place?
Not that we know of. I mean, we control. It's north of here, and we've got a platform that we operate off of as the main one, and then we've got smaller bases around that, and that's spread along the coast. We had a run-in one time with a group that was on a really large ship, but they didn't. I mean, we had a quick engagement, and then they left. That's been several years ago.
That's the same place that makes the robot people and dogs make the flying things? Drones?
No, not that I know of.
Then where do they come from?
That's the sphere ones are from, or the round ones are from, that's Ancient's tech. I know we found a couple in some bunkers that we've come across. But if you're talking about the small ones, we've got some guys that are pretty savvy, and when we scrounge enough parts, they can get one put together.
Yeah, looks back and over towards the other two.
What are you trying to communicate there with that look?
Are we done? Basically.
I think so, but don't kill him for God's sakes.
Does he say that out loud?
No, that would attempt to be communicated silently.
Roll a sense emotion.
I'm the person I've known the actual longest in this entire group.
See if you're feeling what he's putting down in his eyes.
I am oddly very bad at that.
You're not 100% sure what he's trying to say with that look, but
Let me help you. Manipulate roll.
That is not how this is supposed to go. I'll just get a neon sign. It's like, don't do this.
So what do you want to do?
Is there anything of interest to the north of where your little group lives?
To the north of our main base?
Yes.
It's just open water. We've sent some people out north and they've gone for days and come back and not found anything to the north. He kind of looks you dead in the eye, Velvet. You're going to kill me, aren't you?
Perkin will step up. We'd like to not if we don't have to.
What do I need to do so you don't?
Oh, for starters, you can answer the other question you dodged earlier.
What question was that?
What are things like at home? Are people stressed out?
Oh,
Are things been going well?
it's not good. It's decidedly bad right now.
Why is that?
Because we had a run-in with a group of mutants that almost wiped us out. That's why we're having to use so many synthetics.
Yeah, slow nod at that. Interesting.
And that's why when we discovered that there were some mutants that took out a group of us to the south, that's why we're here. They're very concerned about groups of mutants, particularly animal mutants that are operating in our areas.
Your areas? If I'm not
sorry.
mistaken, you live in the middle of a lake or something. River?
Well, I'm sorry I misspoke on that.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you guys can just eat fish and be about your business, but that's not what you tend to want to do now, is it? This guy is human, right? Like, smell-wise?
Yep. 100% stinky human.
Should we try to figure out where the mutants were that kicked their tails?
You're pretty sure, Chev, that he's talking about... Oh, you mean the one that almost wiped him out?
Yep.
That he's talking about. Ah. You gonna ask him that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it was a group of rabbits that are about 20 miles to the east of here.
I'm gonna roll. Do you want a manipulate or a sense emotion to try and hide my emotion on that?
It'd be you're trying to hide your emotion. Do a sense emotion, yeah.
Oh, that's he's like Perkins gonna try to stifle a laugh or a smile or whatever right now.
Okay. You get it. You keep it under control.
Why do you guys have such an interest in animal mutants in particular?
Well, originally it was because they're hard workers.
That you guys all got killed.
You can tell he's kind of holding something back on that too.
Talk.
He kind of looks at you. He says, I don't want to say. You're gonna kill me.
Say it. If you don't say it, she'll definitely kill you.
You think if you give him a well-placed backhand to the chops, you might influence him a little bit.
Slap him. I'll kill you if you don't answer the question.
Okay. Animals. We found that we had usually we had good, and you can tell he really doesn't want to say it. He says we could usually beat them into submission pretty easy. It was like they were used to that.
Okay, now we're punching him in the face.
Okay, I was like, I really don't want Velvet to kill him right here, but if she did, I'd be like, okay.
That gets a pretty hefty backhand.
Okay, do you want to try to do damage, or is it just enough to bloody his lip kind of thing?
The second, I'm not trying. If I wanted to kill him, it would be a lot more intense than just a backhand.
So he grunts and falls to the ground, and he says, "I'm sorry, you asked," and he's cowering.
What is it with humans that thinking that they can just run over literally everything that they want all the time? It doesn't matter what you're up to. It doesn't matter what you think you are. Humans are just supposed to be better.
Well, they're not better than the rabbits.
Apparently. She spits at him. God, you guys make me sick.
He says,
once
we're
wondered
not,
about you guys.
He says we're not all that way. I never took part in any of that. I don't like it.
Yeah, and yet you still benefit from it, right? You still get bonuses from it. I have to eat.
I have to eat.
You do. Of course you do.
And I need protection. I mean, I'm just one person. I couldn't live alone in the zone. I had to join a group. And he says, and he's kind of tearing up and crying. He says, I have a son.
Yeah, we all had, at one point in time, family. Some of which you guys might have actually murdered.
I'm just a scout, he says.
Once upon a time, I might have given you guys a chance. Maybe. I've gotten really good. What?
We can't kill all of them.
Why?
Because what happens when we get to them when we get to where they're at, okay? When they get real desperate, okay? First thing that they do is they put the guns to the backs of the people that are ours, that are still left.
We don't even know if they're still alive.
We do. There are some that are still left. He says that kind of pained when he says some.
We have several of the mutants, and we have several of the animal mutants left.
Unless you have names, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, because that could be anyone you guys grab from literally anywhere. Since I'm not expecting you to be on first name basis with people you basically just destroy for your own gain.
I suppose then we'll have to ask, is that a risk that you're willing to take, Velvet?
What?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. No, maybe it is, maybe they have someone, maybe they don't have anyone that we know of, but maybe they do.
So what's the risk? Trying to save everyone? I'd really love to do that.
No, we're not going to save everyone, but we're going to save as many as we can.
As many as we can, yes. Now what we're going to do with the people who like this who are going to be left afterwards, I have no idea.
Figure that out when we get there. But if we start doing it now, then we're going to lose more people than is necessary.
Is the guy on the ground like still laying like on his side or on his back or whatever?
Yeah, he's pretty well cowered.
Well, she places a foot directly on either his chest or his side. So now what? What do we do with this one?
We let him go.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, it's your lucky day. You're up to me be drowning right now.
He kind of looks at Velvet, and then he looks at you, Perkin. You're really gonna let me go?
Yes. Then I'm going to give you some advice. And Perkin grabs him and sort of dusts him off a little bit. You find a way to get back to your son. You get out of there. You get out of there as quick as you can. You find better people.
Where are there better people that I can trust?
I don't know. But I know that the ones that you're with now, again, it sounds like even if some other group out there doesn't kill you, your own people will. Or at least make your life a living hell. You're going to have to risk it, risk stuff if you want something better.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll take my son and we'll get out.
I hope you do. He unbinds him, gets a small kit together for him, for him to get
Well,
out of there.
he's got a kit. He asks if he can
Oh, he's
go in
got
and
it?
get. He's
Okay.
got. He
Yeah.
asks, can he go in and get his backpack and his map and everything.
We're going to search your backpack first, but yes.
Okay. He says, I don't know if you guys have anybody that you. I don't know where you're at or anything like that, but I do want to show you this. And before before you can even really kind of look at it, he opens up his map, and he's got a place marked on there that's to the west. Pull up the map here and see if.
The west. That was the desert area we were briefly exploring.
I gotta pull you up there. You can't. You're not gonna see the pings if I don't pull you up there with me.
Yeah, that's true.
So here, he's got something marked. He says we found in our searching, we found a group of people there that was quite large. We estimated at least probably 150 to 200 people. They appeared to be humans. We didn't see any really mutants or anything, and they had several vehicles that they were driving and things like that. I would stay away from there if you're not aware of them. They seemed like they were quite well armed, but I'm gonna give you this map so that yeah, right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you this map so they don't get any of my notes on any of this, and I can find my way back to the river from here, and from there I can find my way home. But I don't want my people to get a hold of my map with my notes.
Is there anything that you need before you leave to sell your story?
Yeah, I don't really like the idea of this, but you probably need to rough me up a bit. So I can say that we came across zone ghouls or something.
Do we have any information from about stuff around this area that they might not have come in contact with? So that way he comes back with information about something new while also having been roughed up by said thing?
You have the information about the hag. That's kind of in this area here.
That might be a little bit too much because he'd have to sell a whole spiel about how the robots weren't useful to the hag and whatnot. Zone ghouls it is. That's as good as we're gonna get.
Okay.
All right. Well,
And you can see that his group was let off here at the bridge, and they've kind of searched basically this area here. I'll leave that for you for now.
Well, we'll go ahead and rough him up.
Okay. He doesn't enjoy it. And
That's fair.
when you're done, he holds out his hand to you, Perkin.
I'll take it.
He says, "Thank you. My name's Ranveg, and I appreciate you letting me go."
Ranveg?
Yep.
I hope you find something better. I really do. Now get out of here.
And he beats feet. That had to be hard to do.
Yeah, especially after that comment about the animals seem to have been used for it. That one was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be mad if Velvet kills him here.
That the animals seem to be used to being beaten into submission.
Yep.
Yep, I kind of thought that might be a little inflammatory, but I mean, that's why they picked him, because basically from the Gen Lab stuff, the animals were kind of already used to being dominated by the robots, so.
Well, in any case, we have a lot of information to take back with this whole deal.
She watches the man leave and briefly thinks about drawing her bow.
He is running with an occasional glance back, but he is beating feet. He gets into some, brush and stuff and trees as fast as he can. He's headed directly east to the river.
Well, she's not going to stop him, but she does watch him for a bit. It's only a matter of time before somebody you let go turns around and tries to kill us, right?
Yep.
You're okay with that?
Well, if we don't let any of them go, then we let go. If we don't let any of them go, then we don't let... There's a whole cascade of effects that's far worse than continuing the fight pretty much as it was before.
You say that knowing that we're going to end up finding all of them at some point.
Maybe not.
I don't think there's a maybe not. These are people who strung up some of our people on the sides of boats.
Yeah. But if a few of them get away and can sort of talk to the other good people there, maybe it'll mean something.
Did you let him take his radio, or did you keep that?
Whatever worked better for his plan, for his story.
He left it up to you. He said, "I can say that I lost it. That's not, we've been set upon by zone ghouls and stuff before, and
We'll keep it just so that because you would have called back immediately after this was all done instead of running all the way back."
He says, "Really, that makes more sense, or I would have, after the encounter, I would have had to call it in." He said, "It'd be best if you kept it."
Oh. One more thing before you go. And Perkin will give him one of his painkillers to reset damage. When you get home, I'm sure there's another beating right there waiting for you too.
Yeah, you're probably right. And yeah. All right. Man, that was kind of an intense RP session there for almost an hour. So what do you want to do now?
Call it Rick's leftovers.
Jesus.
What'd you say, Rick's leftovers?
Yeah.
Everyone's always make me the bad guy. Jeez.
No. That's the thing is there'll be people who need killing.
Well, of an interrogation session, I think she's only killed one person.
Yeah.
So right now we're at like a 25% death rate on interrogation.
Right. I mean,
out of the 4 I can remember anyway.
The thing is you guys do good cop, bad cop really well.
Well, it's because it's very natural. It's actually a good cop and a bad cop happening here. No offense. And I'm not trying to, again, like I know you just said that, like, trying to paint you as the bad guy and whatnot, which is not what I'm trying to do when I make this statement. But, like, as far as that person's feelings about who's going to be a good cop and who's going to be a bad cop, they're going to view the person who's ready to kill them as the bad cop.
Well, and Velvet has got more
mountain of evidence.
more than enough to be in that position where she's like, I'm not listening to a word you say. You're nothing but a bunch of shysters.
If someone ever tries to kill you, you try to kill them right back.
At this point, it's been
That's
multiple
pretty
times.
reasonable.
So, yeah.
That's a reasonable position to adopt.
And the one time she risked her neck for a human, it didn't work out anyway.
Which human was that?
The Elder. When she
Oh.
went on that gun spree back at the original arc.
Well, I mean, that's yeah, it didn't work out, but it's not that the Elder tried to kill her, you know, or anything
No,
like
in
that.
fact, he's never even spoken to her because he was pretty much senile before she even got there. And then we found that other lady who was in a similar state. So was this? I did my friends a favor. It didn't really work out. In fact, she almost died that day. So yeah.
That's fair.
You just haven't had a lot of good experience with humans, have you?
No, she is not. Not a single friggin' time.
It's kind of like, if you eat bad fish once, you're kind of reluctant to try it again,
Exactly.
All right, so what do you want to do from here? This guy is elbows and knees, basically not waiting around to see if you change your mind. And it doesn't take him long to put some distance and be gone.
I suppose we get him
That's
up.
kind of a lot of information.
Yeah, I think we did what we came up here to do, right?
Do we still need to talk with the Hell Drivers?
Yeah, where were they? Were they just waiting outside?
Yeah, actually that's an interesting thing. Yeah, they would have been there, wouldn't they? The three Hell Drivers.
Well, I know they had a distinct
do a sense
disinterest in...
both of you guys do a sense emotion roll for me.
All three of us, you mean?
Yep. Ooh, gosh, wow. Holy
I am not
crap.
good at this.
That's all right.
Nope.
Perkin, when he points out the 200 or 150 person group or whatever on the map, you see the three Hell Drivers get really nervous. Same, Chev, you notice it also. They are nervous. And probably, I would say that, boy, they wouldn't be authorized, but I bet they would probably
Here,
take
I'll just give them the map.
They would probably roll with that, I'd say. Once he beats feet, the kind of the de facto leader of the three comes up and says, "Hey, I don't know if I'm authorized to tell you this, but I think we're good enough friends to let you know that group he's talking about. That's our main operational position. That's where we operate out of."
All right. Well, don't worry about being authorized. We don't know anything, and I'll hand him the map.
He says, "Well, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna let what is her name? Alonia. I'm gonna let her know that we've been spotted. We may need to pick up and move, and I'm gonna let her know that I let you know that that's where we're at. I can't lie to her. And
All right. Fair enough.
I personally don't think it's a problem that you know where we're at. I feel really good about working with y'all after this assignment. So
Which
that's-
is so funny because it's like the exact polar opposite of the how the interrogation went from the last assignment.
well, he says, I felt like you all had our back and we had yours, and it was good to not. It was just a good deal, not worrying about maybe getting stabbed. And so he says, I'm going to head back now. I'd like to get. We really need to let them know right away that we've been ID'd.
What was your name again? I'm sorry, I've forgotten.
I've got to look to see what their names were.
As the character pulls out a notepad, what was my name again?
Yeah, exactly, because I've slept a couple times since then.
It's like all he remembers is breathing and fine dining.
Well, let me just generate a couple names real quick for you. And we'll write it down this time, because I didn't last time. Apparently, I have to go back and listen. I'm sure I probably did give you some names. Yeah, that sounds like a good pirate name.
Editing Jeff here. I said pirate, but I meant hell driver. That is all.
The guy talking to you is Octane.
You want to go faster? Want my advice? Lose the loincloth.
Let's see here. Mulger, Molger. And that would have been a good one. Ergom, Ergom.
I'm gonna say Octane's the leader.
Yeah,
I'm
Octane
just
is the
gonna-
leader. Yeah, Octane's the
I'm
leader.
just gonna-
You're just spitballing?
Yeah, well, this is one of those situations where it's like, I don't care what the DM says. Octane is the leader.
I'm not talking to Ergom or Molder. Or Mulger.
I am never not going to unsee that now.
Yeah, it's just like, I love it because he's also part of the Hell Drivers, you know? I really bet you that this guy just absolutely loves going fast. If he could find a way to get rid of his legs, okay, but have faster replacements for his legs, he would do it. That's how much he loves going fast. Well, good luck, boys. It was good working with you, Octane. Mulger. Other guy.
Ergom.
My name's Ergom. Single figure point up in the background.
All right, they say their farewells and they head off. What do you guys want to do?
Go home, presumably.
Go home?
Was there anything else that we were up here to do? I mean,
Well-
I don't know if this necessarily counts for our making contact with the Hell Drivers or not.
Yeah, I think it would. You stopped them from? Didn't you stop them from lighting the fire and everything? And
Yeah.
you went up to investigate basically the reports of people scouting that actually one of your stalkers came back with. So, yeah, I think you're probably good to head back at this point if you want, or you can push on somewhere.
I mean, we do have a lot of really relevant information, and and honestly, some of that information may have moved our time frame up.
So back to the Ark.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
Although on the way back, I was just gonna speak up a little bit. You know, back when we were at the not Animal Towers, the place we were at before that, Gen Lab, they had weapons that were really good against those guys. Do you think they'd be worth trying to find to fight the pirates?
You mean weapons that are good against robots?
Yes.
It could be worth our time.
Chev's
Right
got
now,
Chev's got one on his hip.
Did I fix it?
I believe so. Yeah. seem to remember you made a good roll and repaired it up to 100%.
Well, I don't know sure where we can find more of them, but if we can get more people to have those, when we take the pirates on, it'll probably make a huge difference. If I had to guess, the only place to really look is probably going to be the other bunkers that are around.
Speaking of which, there's a National Guard armory not too far away from us, right?
Wait, what? What?
You know, we were talking about it. We found it on a map. Found the place that had the armory from the old world. No guarantee there'll be anything left, but it's definitely a good place to look.
Well, we still have a tank, or that, yeah, we have that tank to fix too. Which I'm not sure how useful that's going to be, because that thing can't swim, right?
No, but maybe we could rip the turret off of it and put it on a boat.
I don't know how any of that works, but that seems like a bad idea to me.
I mean, it's definitely a bad idea, but maybe it's an idea so bad that it's good.
I am not going on a boat with that thing on it. And that's about all she had to really say about that idea. So presumably make our way back to, or finish making our way back to...
Head back to the Ark.
All right, yeah, it sounds like we're headed back to the Ark. Let's go ahead and move that token.
Okay. That's not going to take you that long. It'll be like an hour or two, about 3 hours to get home. Actually, you got to pick up your truck over here.
Correct.
All right.
Oh, I completely forgot we taking that with us.
All right. So when you get back to the Ark, what is your intention?
I believe we have some elders to talk to. Oh, is Chev back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
So you're going to head and talk to the council members?
Yes.
Okay. All right, they assemble and what did you find?
Found loads. We captured one of their scouts, and we got a fair chunk of information from him.
I see.
So right here, I'll pull out the notepad. We have all the radio protocols for that unit. Should shed some light on speeding up, knowing, us being able to understand everything, even though it's not too hard. We have a clearer picture of their assets. They do have access to some of the not just the small drones that we've seen, but also some of the larger ones.
They want to know how many of those do they have?
They said they had just the scout said they had just a few of them, at least down here.
Okay. What else did you get from this scout?
We know where they're. I think we've discussed the synthetic dogs and the synthetic soldiers before. We now have a location on the base that they're pumping those out of.
Okay. Where is that at?
And I'll show them it's somewhere in here. And that's north of the spot that we were at, right?
No, it was west. And you equated that to probably the park that you were at, remember?
Oh, it was the same park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that park was north of, or that there was like a second park north of it. No, so it's that park. Same place we went to.
I see.
And they're pumping out more of those people because they have not been having a good time.
In what way?
They had a run-in with the rabbits that went poorly for them, from what I understand. And also the damage that we did to their base just a few months ago. That was a big hit to them. Apparently.
I see.
So they're using the dogs and the synthetic soldiers to supplement their lacking forces.
Now, out of character here, what I want to make sure you're not confusing things.
All right.
I'm not going to say that he didn't mention that the base that you came across they took losses there. That you and the Hell Drivers attacked. But what has brought the more attention down here in the scouting parties is your attack on the group that was at the sandbar.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that was clear. Sorry. Please proceed.
All right. Wait. Could you say that again, please?
Yeah. So he probably would have mentioned the attack on the base where you found the regen stuff,
right?
And the Hell Drivers.
Yeah.
He probably would have mentioned that they took a big loss there.
Yeah.
In conjunction with the shellacking they got from the rabbits. But what has brought them down here in their scouting for is the sandbar hit.
Okay. Now I'm understanding.
And that's because they're terrified right now, it appears, of particularly animal mutants.
Yeah, well, the rabbits would definitely set that off after a big attack with the animal mutant.
Exactly. And what did you rescue from that sandbar? Wabbits. Exactly.
It would help if any of them were particularly wascally.
So that's what's got them stirred up like a hornet's nest right now.
Gotcha.
And why they're pushing down this far and expanding off the river, most likely, is that he didn't really. I mean, he said they're doing some scrounging and they're looking for stuff, but it was really, he's like, it's because we came across some animal mutants here that we're wanting to deal with before they become a problem, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. I am now actually understanding what you're putting down. Yeah.
Sorry.
The other hit. No, you're fine. The other hit where we took out the regen station was a big hit, but it's not what has them panicking right now. Well, it's probably part of it, but it's the big full tilt panic thing was a sandbar attack.
Yeah, that's what's got them really concerned. Because there were animal mutants there, in particular rabbits. He didn't the guy that you had, Randbeg, he didn't specifically call out rabbits, but he said animal mutants. And I mean, when you think about the fact that he then told you about the rabbits handed them their butts, that you probably have that's a good conjunction right there, conjecture, not conjunction.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to relay that.
So, Kalgu says in his deep voice, so they're having to use more of the synthetics because their numbers are low?
That's according to the person we interrogated, yes.
And you believe they're making these in the place to the west of us that you found?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like we need to take out that facility so that they can't continue to augment their numbers with synthetics.
There's more.
Go ahead.
We received from this unit some news regarding regarding at least a portion of the people that were captured.
Really?
According to this person, there was many of them have died, but they still have some left.
You see all of the council members kind of you can see them, their shoulders kind of sag as they get the news of this, but there's still some alive.
Yes, and if we're going to put more pressure, on the pirates, then that pressure needs to be immediately followed up with a strike if we want to save
But
what we
these
can.
synthetics are so strong and difficult to deal with. How can we possibly deal with them?
There may be more information of that at the facility. Perhaps some sort of shut-off switch. But again, any pressure that we put on the pirates is going to create more pressure at home, which is going to create more pressure on the people that are left.
At this point, Almond Kerr pipes up and says, "Well, I think it's obvious that we need to immediately stop their ability to bolster their ranks. Wouldn't you agree?"
I'm not disagreeing with that, not in the slightest. I'm just saying that if we're going to do that, then we need to be immediately ready for a follow-up strike on their main base so that we can save our people. Because if we keep waiting, we'll lose more.
So how do we prepare for that?
We need ships.
Ships.
Boats, and the know-how to be able to navigate on the waters with them.
I see.
I don't know how many people are left from the mutant arc, but it's possible that there may be some people there from that know, because I understand they had a tugboat and things that they used before, so that might be something we can look into. Some knowledge we have on hand, as it were.
Do you think the Hell Drivers would have somebody that can help us?
From what we've never observed them using boats before, but it's possible.
Always can ask.
Speaking of which, it's likely that the pirates know the Hell Drivers' home location now as well.
How did they find that?
They've been sending out scouts.
Oh, this scout found them?
Yes. Just real quick, the scout probably reported that back, did the scout say he hadn't given them a map yet to that or anything?
Oh, he hasn't given them a map yet. And you didn't specifically ask if he had, um, uh, reported in
Right.
any of the stuff that he found on his map yet.
Okay. But just from I don't know. That might have been something that he would have been likely to hold close to his chest, because if the answer was no, then it's not unreasonable to kill him at that point. We'll just assume that the pirates know it for now and call it even. That's the safer play.
The question is do you think he'll reveal it because he left his map with you?
We didn't tell the elders that we had let the guy live yet, had we?
No.
Oh, okay. This wasn't a question from an elder. This is just you asking me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So back to the line of discussion here with the elders. Suchet says, what do you think our best options are to prepare so that when we go in and take out the facility that's producing these synthetics, that we're ready to go. Besides boats and people, what could we possibly do to help prepare beyond that?
If we have any other weapons that are similar to the one that Chev has, or if we have any way of replicating that, I know that's a bit far out there. But finding more weapons that are EMP that disable electronics would be it would be invaluable to a fight with their synthetics.
Suchet says, what about the sky wheel?
There could be some of that equipment at the Sky Wheel.
That's really far. What was that? East, though, right?
It's a lot closer now that we've got a car.
Well, and you've got an explored path there, too. About 19 or 20 hours to get there by vehicle. So 2 days. Zingo says, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not military tacticians. Your group has been involved in many conflicts over quite a while now. We're going to defer to you on how to best proceed with this defense of our Ark, defense of our allies, the Hell Drivers, and ultimately the rescue of any of our comrades that are being held by these scrap pirates. But I believe, with the Hell Drivers' help, if they're in a weakened state, we should strike soon.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And we might be able to get the rabbits on our side for that as well, seeing as how they've already shown that they're willing to engage with the pirates as well. I know that we talked
While
about
you've been
making
gone, the
contact with
rabbits have. While you've been gone, the rabbits have been making themselves quite useful.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So, we need to procure arms to fight the robots. Arms for fighting the robots. Boats for fighting.
To get to where the pirates are.
Get to where the pirates are. Make contact with the rabbits so that we can coordinate with them as well. And then coordinating with the Hell Drivers it's something we need to do, but it's not really an item list. So right now we have 3 things that need to be done relatively quickly. I think that contacting the rabbits and procuring arms, we can do that at the same time.
Contacting the rabbits?
Yes. The larger force of rabbits north of Skywheel.
Oh. You think they might be willing to talk if we sent some of the rabbits from here with you?
Maybe.
I don't know. They did shoot at us a lot that one time we went to see them.
But we didn't have rabbits with us that would vouch for us last time.
Okay.
Okay, what's the first priority?
Shutting down their ability to produce more bodies to defend themselves with.
Do you think with the Hell Drivers' help you can shut down the facility? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. I don't know the answer though.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Know. If we had the guns, I'd say yes. Absolutely.
As far as boats, you said the group that's down at the sandbar right now has 2 boats.
That's correct.
Do you think it would be worth taking an attack group from here now to procure those 2 boats?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that would be. We should do that. If nothing else, it'll help shift some forces away from the from their production facilities as well, which will then help with our attacking that.
Okay. Take as many people as you need. Did you? Is the prisoner in our brig right now?
No, we
Oh,
let him go.
you see kind of shock on their faces. You did what?
We let him go.
Why would you have done that? That he'll go back and tell his people. You gonna have anything to say for yourself on that?
Yeah, well, Perkin would, and he knew, and he would have known this question was coming. So this is something he probably would have thought about how to say it. But I don't know how to say it right now.
Okay, can you convey the general gist of what you would have been trying to convey to them?
Yeah. After talking with this particular scout, it wasn't readily apparent that he was, quote unquote, a bad person, I guess, and that as far as a tactical reason for doing it, it would be good to sow some doubt in the pirates. They're already panicking. Now, if we can make them think that this fight is the worst possible decision, or like just a erode their spirit, if that makes sense.
Okay. Almond Kerr.
This
Go.
particular scout seemed a good candidate for that.
Okay.
And
Almond
he was very
Kerr.
forthcoming with the information too that we do have. So, and he gave us information that we didn't probe for.
Almond Kerr starts to get really irate, kind of raising her voice about, this is a breach of our security. We're going to have to move the Ark, and this is, we have to get the Hell Drivers moved. He's going to tell them where they're at, and just kind of starts to spool out, and Suchet kind of slams his meaty paw on the table and says, Almond Kerr, sit down. Do you not think that Perkin and his group have the experience to know what is right in these situations? And basically goes on about a 2-minute monologue of your achievements, what you've done for the Ark, the great decisions you've made, how you've never led us astray, kind of thing, and basically shuts Almond Kerr right down. And Almond kind of, you see her relax a bit after Suchet is done, and she says, I apologize, Perkin. It's just, the pirates are a real threat, and I have concerns.
I understand.
She says, I hope you're right, that we've sowed the seeds of an ally and not sown the seeds of our demise. Please gather any arms from the armory, any explosives you need, whatever you need to go and procure the 2 ships from the pirates. We want to capture them before they leave the area.
Understood.
And they kind of dismiss you.
Okay.
On a good note, Cilia is doing much better.
That's good.
You're pretty certain she's going to pull through okay.
Excellent.
Your lab helpers have been tending to her well, so
Good.
um,
I'll make sure to pat them on the back and congratulate them. Make sure that they know that this was no easy feat to do, and they pulled through. They did it.
they
Proud of them.
You can tell they're proud to receive the praise. They're feeling pretty good. All right, so what kind of preparations do you want to make here?
Can we make some smoke bombs?
Oh, yes, you could.
We want to make some smoke bombs.
That's a cool idea.
From what we've seen of their machine guns, it's basically all done by eyesight, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they don't have thermal sights sitting on 'em.
Excellent. Because if we can disable them just by making it impossible to see, then we can preserve them for our own uses, as well as cover any retreats or advances that we make with the rest of our troops.
I like the way you're thinking. Give me a roll, Perkin. Your, what is it? Your brew potions there. And you'll get all your bonuses for all your equipment here also.
So it's like a +3, right?
Yeah.
Could I have Chev help me with the fine tuning on the chemical composition of that?
Yep. I'll give you a +1. All right, roll 3d4. You make 5 smoke bombs.
Okay.
By the way, I went back and I listened in, and you have on you 6 Molotov cocktails that you made already.
Okay. I'll mark the smoke bombs and the Molotovs right now.
Okay. So you've got smoke bombs, you've got some Molotovs. How many people do you think you want to take with you?
What was the size of the force that we observed at the boat?
Well, that is a good question. Let me check that for you. About 13 pirates and 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs. Excuse me.
How many fighters do we have access to?
Oh, I'd say, let's see, what is your current population?
Or is this more of a how many units of fight from the Ark do you want to take kind of a question?
No, we're not taking on major base to major base here. You have a current population of, where is it at? 69.
Nice.
I would say you could take, and there'd be 25% of that anyway that you could take, would be militant side, you know? So whatever. Chev, what's 25% of, say, 70?
Roughly 17 and a half.
So let's say you could take 20 guys, 20 men and women pretty easy with you.
Well, we want to hit fast and hit hard, so... So then 20 it is.
Okay, I'll take a force of 20. Okay.
Did you want to do Ark projects now or in a bit?
We'll do that at the end. I am not prepared for this combat, so we'll probably be ending the session there. Okay. Once we get all your preparations out of the way, that way then I can prep the battlefield for it, and be ready to go at the start of our next session. That's why I'm kind of wanting to get all this down on paper so I know what I need to get ready as far as arc icons and get all that stuff ready to go for you.
All right. If you could, I would like to talk to essentially squad leaders and get that organization set up.
Okay.
And then basically, I want to give them equipment to use at their discretion, essentially, and sort of have a talk with all of them to sort of figure out, to coordinate what exactly we're going to be doing and how we want to utilize things like the smoke bombs.
Okay, so you're going to do a little bit of prep as far as mission talks with the groups and break them down. Okay. And you've got a sniper rifle, an AK-47, another assault rifle, a semi-auto
We
pistol.
have a sniper?
You got this. I'm just reading stuff out of the bunker that you've turned over for the Ark to
The
have.
sniper, I think, was actually from the animals, but they were like, no, that's for Ark use. After we combined, they were like, that's for Ark use, not for...
Yeah, it says from Animal Tower.
Not for our personal use.
Yeah, so this is stuff that is in the Ark's possession that they can loan out.
Now, Velvet, I don't know if you were there when that sniper rifle was used, but it is a hefty boy. And seeing as how we're doing something in service of the Ark, I don't see any reason why you couldn't be our sniper if you wanted to. Because you with a sniper rifle with that thing would be incredibly deadly. I mean, we're talking about, like, 18 dice kind of a thing.
When she is told this, she will probably make squeaking happy noises.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that you hear the zing of the bullet before you hear the report. All right. So you've got the sniper rifle, an AK-47. You've got a semi-automatic pistol. You've got another assault rifle. You got an artifact bow and arrow, semi-auto pistol, armor plate carriers, a gyrojet pistol that you turned in, a revolver. Yeah, and then another assault rifle. So you've got several. You can outfit some pretty heavy-duty stuff here for your folks as well.
I want to take the EMP pistol down to the replicator and make a few dozen.
Yeah, I got you. Nice try.
Could Shav maybe make a crude taser?
Probably.
Because I was looking at his inventory, and he seems to have a power pack and a couple of reels of wire.
Yeah, kind of like on a prod stick sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, let's see is it a jury rig or a tinker roll, or what one you got there that's for your inventor?
I would think that'd be inventor. What?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, and it's durable. You get it set up, and you're pretty sure you could definitely shock the daylights out of something. Let's see. What's a stun baton do?
A D6 agility damage if you hit.
Okay. So that's you got a D6 agility damage if you hit.
And then otherwise it's one physical damage. I think it's only a +1 bonus on the gear itself as well.
Okay. I've got that noted. What else you think you might want to make? We talked about bombs. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Bombs, maybe? Pipe bombs.
I mean, do I have time for that?
Well, you already tried once. This is a new day. You've probably got everything ready to go. You just couldn't get the right combinations. The right combination. So I'll give you another go at it if you want.
Sure, I'll make some boom booms.
All right. I mean, what I'm envisioning here is basically you're prepping overnight, and are going to head out in the morning. So you're probably all going to have to deal with a sleepless, but yeah. So
I imagine we might be attacking at night, maybe.
maybe you just go out in the evening. That'd be cool. All right,
I
give
don't
me
know.
a give me a
Okay.
D4 roll to see how many pipe bombs you make. Oh, nice.
Every squad has a grenadier that has a pipe bomb.
And you could be having your staff work on this kind of some of this stuff too. You know, you basically
Right.
show them how to
Yeah.
do one, and then you move on to the next project, and you've got them working on this. I mean, and there'd be other people from the Ark helping prep as well. I mean, it's this you're not doing this all on your own. So if you know, don't think small, think big. If there's something else you want to do, because you've got the entirety of the Ark behind you here helping. Is that about it? And that's not to say that next game session, if you think of something at the start, we can't retcon that, okay?
Sure.
All right. Now you all had started on the tank project number 1, which is a comprehend, and you've got 4 out of 10. So let's go ahead and knock that out.
Does that comprehend?
Yep. Wow. All right.
Wrong. It's a manipulate roll.
Oh. Blah. Okay, almost there. Oh, not quite.
Well, you know I'm good at this.
Okay, so I think you've got your preparations well underway. And it sounds to me like you're wanting to go for the boats. And then is the plan to go to the sky wheel?
Yes. Boats, skywheel, make our attack on the manufacturing plant.
Okay. And number 3 is the attack on manufacturing. Okay. Cool. Getting kind of real here. What else do you want to? Is there anything else that you want to travel out and check on, or want to go get you one of those infected and have it on a
I've
like a
really
pole?
been thinking about that,
A
but the
pole and
problem, yeah,
buy.
I've been thinking about just like having like some blood mingled in with the pipe bomb or something, and then just lob it over a wall at some point, you know. But the problem is that everyone inside gets hurt after that. So unless we know that there's nobody that we don't want to get hurt in a place. And you know what? You know what else? Probably will probably mitigate the damage that those can actually deal is these robots. That too.
Yeah. I was like, man, I'm gonna use bioweapons. That's harsh.
I thought about it. I definitely thought about it.
Okay. Cool. What else do you want to work on? Anything?
That's all I can think of now. But to be honest, I'm a smidgen fried. So
All right. So this is a good place to stop the session tonight. Then it's a little earlier, quite a bit earlier than we would normally do, but um, I wasn't sure where you were going to go or if you were going to act on any of it at all. And so if you're going to act on move towards a combat thing, that's going to take me a little bit of prep time. I don't want to do it substandard. I want to do this right if you're gonna go for gusto with the pirates here. So
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean that sort of that comment, I suppose you could call it, about how that a significant portion of the children had died. That was really that's really we're taking that's like the biggest slap in the face of we're taking too long to do this thing that we could have gotten. So
well, don't forget they've got other people too.
yeah, no, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
The
when
kids,
it resolves, we'll see how.
the kids is a bit of a ouch.
Yeah, when it resolves, we'll see how it all went down. But right now, we have to deal with the information that we have at hand, and the information that we have at hand is that we're running out of time because they're running out of children to kill.
Yeah. All right. Chev, anything before we get off of here?
No. Hopefully I can get a good night's sleep and then I can come up with something.
Well, I hope you get some rest. Yeah, cool. Might chat with you guys a little bit in between the sessions, but otherwise, we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks. All right?
Okay. All right, sounds good.
All right. Everybody have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Sleep.
Thank you for watching another episode of Mutant Year Zero. We appreciate you stopping by. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified when we upload new content. We hope to see you next episode. Thanks for joining us for Mutant Year Zero.